ArtFight. Maybe it's popped up on your feed. Maybe it hasn't. You might be curious, but also hesitant about participating in it. And I can't blame you for that, because there's drama in it. Now, before we begin, some of you guys may know about what ArtFight is, but I'm still gonna talk about it either way. If you've heard it all before, just jump to the next part. It's fine, just go to the next chapter. Anyways, for those of you who don't know, ArtFight is an online art game that takes place from the 1st of July to the 31st. However, it extended to the 1st of August, which means artists have enough time to finish their attack before it ends. Artists join one of the two teams. Right now, it's fossils and crystals. It's alright if you pick one manually, but it really doesn't matter what you choose. You attack people on the opposing team by drawing their original characters. Others can revenge attack by drawing your other characters back, which is basically an art trade. But moving on. The more effort you put into your drawing, such as clean line art, full body, shading, etc., the more points you earn from it. Just so you know, it's not hardcore competition. The whole point is to have fun, be creative, and to make friends from it. Even if you're a beginner or a professional, it does not matter, so anyone's just welcome to join. Alright, with all that said, let's talk about some of the issues that come up in the ArtFight community. Because while it's fun, it's like any other game. It's just not gonna be perfect. And I also want to put in my 2 cents in for these said issues. I'd like to give you all a heads up that all the chapters will go from not as bad to pretty bad, so be sure to remember that. The rest of the video is going to be showing a speed paint. I'm drawing this character by _Namisa. The art is great, by the way. Check them out next ArtFight. Now, this one isn't as bad as what I'll mention later on, but it is pretty common. When it comes to ArtFight, which runs for the whole month of July, like I said earlier in the intro, a lot of people tend to get burned out from doing ArtFight. Burnout is normal. It can happen occasionally. It's obvious, I know. When it comes to ArtFight, at first, a lot of artists start drawing a lot more than they usually do every day. Majority of them try their best to keep up with revenges, or maybe their personal goals, but by the 2nd or 3rd week, they probably have given up by then. Since they'll start thinking, I'll do just a few attacks, that's all I'm gonna do. And then... Jokes aside, mind you, everyone's experiences are different. I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak on what I know so far. And what I know so far is that they'll end up pumping out as much as possible instead. This especially doesn't help that people develop feelings of tiredness and creative overload. If saying a sentence like that doesn't help, then let me picture it this way. It's like eating way too much sugar and having a sugar crash afterwards. The point being, it's that dopamine of motivation that you have in the first few days. You feel hyped at first, and then you're drawing non-stop, then boom! You're feeling very exhausted. And to make things worse, there's this feeling that you're expected to balance both quality and quantity at the same time. Even I had to experience that feeling, where I had to do a lot of that. However, it's my first ArtFight, so I put in at least 14 to 15 attacks, at least this year. Back to what I was saying about ArtFight. Its structure feels like the total opposite, especially for people who are perfectionists, or those who basically keep track of their progress like it's some to-do list. And it feels like you have to be perfect. And the whole point of ArtFight is having fun, yet how is it somehow stressful? While I was researching, I came across quite a few comments from artists talking about how exhausting ArtFight can get, especially when you're keeping up with everything. Let me show you. And I will also be reading this out as well. Hello everyone, my problem today is that I wish to join this year's ArtFight. The issue is that I have 8 to 12 characters already planned for attacks, and I feel very little motivation to do it because it feels like, no matter what, drawing all of those characters in 1 month will be a daunting task. Because of my artistic quality for art attacks during the past 2 years, I yearn to ensure my artwork is high quality to my standards, but also easy to work on, and can be completed within 3 hours. I also wish to avoid burnout by not drawing every day like last year, but I want to make sure I have time to draw each attack by the end of the game. What advice do you give for managing attacks on ArtFight? If you have high volume of characters you'd like to draw, how do you manage to draw them while producing relatively high quality work, drawing them quickly enough and avoiding burnout? I was thinking of working on attacks 5 days a week and leaving weekends to relax. As I mentioned, I'll set my timer for completing all drawings within 3.5 hours. to allow for more free time. I'll be gone on Monday, the 7th, and end on Tuesday, the 22nd, and allow myself the entire week off. The only issue is that this may entail drawing every day for 5 days a week. Unless I decide to work on 2 drawings on some days, or take more days off. An example, pausing every Wednesday alongside the weekend to allow for less burnout by having a gap between days. But what would you do personally? Other members have chimed in and said, 6 sounds like a plan, and don't compare yourself to anyone doing 50 to 100 artworks. That's insane and pure quantity work, and usually not very quality heavy. Can't imagine this being fun either. Take your time. It can also help to have no goal at all, by the way. Draw however many you like. Like Sky Crystal said, having no goals at all is good. Just draw when you feel like it, and draw how many you want to draw. Another one from Newground says, I participate, but my experience isn't that good, really. It burns me out extremely fast. People tend to not do revenges outside of their own in-groups. It unintentionally makes me very insecure about how well written or designed my characters are, and if an art-sharing site is doing that to players, I don't think that's a good game. It reminds me of how mainstream social medias make you judge your own art skill-wise and get demotivated, and I just can't get behind it. Probably won't participate this year, unless I just am in the mood to draw something different from my usual stuff. Definitely won't take it nearly as seriously as I used to. I partially can contribute that to why I got so bummed out playing the past few years. Finally, there's one I saw from a DeviantArt post, but I forgot where it was now, but here's what I did find. Every July, I draw daily, from morning till evening. At the end, I had no energy, no ideas, and took a break, and pretty much stopped drawing for the rest of the events. It ended up not being fun anymore. Oh, and another thing, I have found this post made by the official ArtFight Tumblr. This time, I'll just let you pause and read. With that in mind, what could we do in order to stop this very feeling of burnout? Well, there are a few ways to prevent it. For starters, you want to try prepping character references and upload early so you don't have to scramble mid-July. That's number 1. Number 2, you want to start with a realistic goal, from 5 to 10 pieces of your choosing. You want to plan with buffer days, and if you don't know what buffer days are, feel free to pause and read this. Instead of pushing yourself to make 10 to 20 drawings, try letting the load by setting more boundaries. You can do this by drawing at least 5 days, rest on weekends, or designate a mid-week off day. Try to break sessions into small time blocks, like an example, 2 hours maximum. Not the full day. Try doing 10-hour sprints. When you hit the threshold, close your laptop and relax. You're not obligated to revenge anyone. You're simply drawing fan art. If you fall short midway, use rule number 4 to remind yourself that it's optional and participation itself is valid. Again, commenting and thinking on the event page is like enough. Heavy revenges aren't required. Eventually, you're gonna want to try doing other stuff, like reading books, playing games, take walks, anything that probably resets your brain. Doing so much ArtFight may affect how you feel cognitively. If you want, try sketching for fun without any OC in mind. Or experiment in a completely different art style. That's what I would do personally. This was chapter 1 of Burnout. Now it's time to get into our next chapter. Okay, so apparently there's some kind of entitlement culture that surrounds ArtFight, but what does entitlement really mean in the context of ArtFight? Well, I had to find out by talking with someone who had their own experience with this. So, I'm going to be asking them a lot of questions, but here's what they have shared with me. Have you personally experienced or witnessed entitlement in ArtFight, like, at all?
Personally, no, but I've seen like videos of people, like talking about how they have, but personally, no, because usually I don't see it.
Is this behavior common during the events?
Not really. After like just doing like a deep dive on it, I haven't really seen anything like that. I think that it's definitely like certain people in ArtFight. Definitely not everyone, but it's just like maybe from the newer people or people who join ArtFight thinking that they're going to get free art or something, and like everyone's going to attack them.
What should anyone do if they got an attack from someone, but they can't attack them back?
I think that everyone should at least like comment and say that they've seen it and that they enjoyed the art or whatever, or giving some critique or something. I don't think that like everyone should be made to like draw someone else's character.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, how do people usually react when someone refuses to return an attack? Is it in a negative way?
Yeah, I've like seen it in the server where they'll be like, oh, this person didn't attack me back. Can somebody please attack me? Or like they'll rant about it in the server, or they'll rant about it on TikTok or whatever.
You think the ArtFight community encourages or enables entitlement?
I think that like a lot of people, like especially like the older people who have been in here, like don't really like see it. And I think it's just like on certain platforms, but I don't think it like they enable it or encourage it at all. I think it's just like the newer people coming in, I feel. So not many people do it.
What are some examples of overly demanding or toxic behavior that you've seen so far?
They kind of just like laugh about it. They're just like what is this person talking about? Not really taking it seriously, because at the end of the day, like that just makes someone not want to do that. So they're kind of just like, why are you even complaining? Because if you complain loud enough, someone's like, they're gonna be like, I don't want to do this. They're not gonna want to attack you.
What would you say to someone who's new to ArtFight and afraid of disappointing others?
I would definitely say, like, try to like I don't know how to explain it, but try to just have fun. I did like 2 attacks this July. It's July, right? I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, I do like 2 attacks every time I do it, and I try to like, I just do it for myself. Don't do it for others.
Any advice for people who feel overwhelmed or guilted during the event?
It's like, honestly, click random character and find someone you want to do, and like just do it for yourself. There's like no point in caring what other people think here, because everyone's trying to have fun. And like the people who do that definitely like drain it. They drain the fun out of it.
What could be done to reduce entitlement culture in ArtFight?
Definitely putting the newer players up at the top. And like probably making it attack or like like if people have a bunch of attacks, put the ones that don't have that much attacks at the forefront so they can get some. That would probably help. But honestly, I think it's just people's mentality.
Has entitlement ever made you enjoy the event less? And if so, how?
I definitely have. A lot of people like not a lot, but like people that I do see on TikTok are like, oh, well, I need to have the most like things for me to be popular or whatever, or they are popular and they're like trying to get it out there. But I haven't really like seen it in a bad way. Like I've just seen people like, oh yeah, attack me if you want. And they're already content creators or something.
Have you ever seen creators brag about getting tons of high-effort attacks, or complain when they don't?
I haven't really seen people complain or like praise when they do. I usually see people just being like, oh, I've gotten so many attacks. That's great. But I haven't seen anyone like actively complain about it. They're just like happy to have attacks.
Have you seen TikToks that shame or criticize others for doing lazy attacks, like, at all?
I've came across people complaining about people who do the mass attacks but are really lazy, like lazy people who are technically cheating. But that's like I haven't seen like too much. So I think that's, yeah.
Do you think some artists guilt trip their audience by posting things like, oh, I worked so hard and I didn't even get anything back from it, like, at all?
I think that I've definitely seen that, like, I've seen that a lot, actually, where people are like, oh, I tried, this is my first ArtFight and I didn't get anything yet, and it's like almost the end of ArtFight. Like, I feel like that is definitely guilt trippy, and I do see that on TikTok.
Do you think TikTok creates unrealistic expectations for new or younger players?
They definitely do. I see a lot of new artists thinking that they have to attack a whole lot of people to even like be involved in ArtFight, when that's like it's not how it is.
Do you think people behave differently on TikTok than they do on Toy House, Discord, or the actual ArtFight site?
I think TikTok definitely like they exaggerate it a little bit.
Have you seen entitlement turn into harassment or drama on TikTok specifically?
I haven't, but I've definitely seen drama on like low quality. So if someone's not getting attacked at all, they're not going to make a video, but if it's like really low quality, they usually make a video.
Alright, based on what I've learned so far from the interview, here's the general takeaway of what I now know so far. Entitlement in ArtFight isn't always super visible, but it does exist, especially among newer users who join expecting free art or guaranteed revenges. There's this unspoken pressure that if you give something, you should get something back, but many older participants don't support that kind of mindset. So a lot of the stress comes from outside platforms like TikTok, where popularity, guilt tripping, and clout chasing can make the event feel less fun. And while open complaints about attack quality are rare, the disappointment of not getting revenged, especially after putting a lot of effort, can unintentionally guilt others or discourage them from participating. And at the end of the day, the message was very clear. Do it for yourself and not for validation. That's what keeps ArtFight enjoyable. Ultimately, the concept of ArtFight can only work best when people participate with mutual respect and realistic expectations together. But, unfortunately, not everyone plays fair. While entitlement can make the event feel emotionally draining, there happens to be another issue that threatens the integrity of this game. Okay, so why do people even cheat in ArtFight? I've been thinking about it now, and I realize that it's not as always simple as just wanting to win, quote unquote. There's a bunch of reasons why it tends to happen. Here's what I think is the reason. Most people who cheat do this for the sake of getting points, also known as point farming. Artists may mass attack early in the event to rack up scores while the competition is active. ArtFight only runs for the month of July, so there's this push to maximize output before the clock runs out. But now, this leads to a bigger question. What's the right way to deal with this? How should the community or the site itself respond? Here, I'll present to you the acronym SPARK. S. Set clear expectations. P. Promote positive culture. A. Accountability with what? What? Hold on.
Anonymity.
Oh, fuck. Okay, back to what I was saying. R. Recognize thoughtful contributions. And finally, K. Keep moderation active. This framework's initial goal is to realign ArtFight's culture towards creating a fair, creative, and if possible, an honest environment. But that's just what I think could work. I don't know what else could work. I think I should let ArtFight by itself decide what works. Even though this chapter fell short, it's now time to get to the main issue of this art game, and also the final chapter of this video. This is the last chapter of the video, guys. However, I still want to talk to more people so I can still understand how they feel about ArtFight as a whole, especially toxic behavior. While making this, I had to interview 2 people as well, so here's what they have shared with me. However, they don't want to do it verbally, so I asked some friends to voice over for them. And for your information, I asked the very 2 participants if they would like to have someone voice over them, and they were fine with it. The first person I'll be interviewing is Valvatine. Hopefully that's how I pronounce it, and if I didn't, I am genuinely sorry. Have you noticed any negative or toxic behaviors among ArtFight participants this year? Like, any recently by chance?
Like after the ArtFight ended.
Either before or perhaps maybe after. Doesn't matter.
I've noticed a lot of negativity coming from the ArtFight on TikTok. Mainly coming from comparisons of artists. I haven't seen much of this behavior on the actual ArtFight website itself. But I've seen dismissive behavior coming from people of attacks that they've received.
Gotcha. In your personal opinion, what role do you think TikTok has played in terms of changing the ArtFight community dynamics, or just how they act?
I believe a lot more people join through TikTok just so they can get free art and not give back in any way. I hate to say it, but due to the way it's described on TikTok, people just seem ungrateful this year since they got something that wasn't the way that it was described. This year, I felt you had advertised crazy amount on TikTok just to get a few attacks compared to last year, which was more balanced.
Yeah, actually, that does sound messed up. Do you think people weaponize the revenge system? Like, in any sort of way?
I'd say so, since some seem to complain about not getting revenge, even though it isn't a mandatory in any way. Other than that, no.
Have you seen cliques or exclusionary behavior towards you or someone else?
I I've seen some exclusion towards beginners. Other than that, no.
Do you think competitiveness has overshadowed creativity? Like, do you believe that it is the case in your opinion?
Absolutely. I get loving the game, but some people are far too fixated on the point system and not just making art for the sake of giving it to others.
It's like they're obsessed with it. I see how that feels. Based on your experience alone, or those surrounded by you, do you believe people are too focused on effort matching or skill level?
In my experience, not really. I haven't seen anyone go too crazy over matching the effort of what they receive, but I do think there is a certain expectation on ArtFight to receive a revenge on the same level you gave.
Alright, that's good enough. Thank you. The next and final participant is I'm Wearing Pants, and here's what they've shared with me.
Hi, I'm Wearing Pants, and I am here to talk about my experience on ArtFight. I am 16 and a beginner digital artist. This was my first year doing ArtFight, and I'd say I am pretty much pleased with what happened to me this year, but this isn't the case for every beginner. I haven't had any bad experiences, but I've definitely heard of a lot. I watched a lot of videos to prepare myself for ArtFight, and a lot of them talked about how the community on AF was toxic. I brushed it off. How could a community of people that got together and celebrated all things original character and art be toxic? It's just been a general issue with bigger artists, or artists that see themselves as better, are more talented, not attacking smaller, maybe newer artists. This toxic behavior could lead to beginner artists who are first getting into the AF community, feeling like they are not being accepted or supported, and they end up stopping art altogether. If the AF community is about supporting artists at every level, then why do bigger artists feel like they should only attack other big artists? Another toxic behavior that I have noticed is people being anti-mass attack, because according to them, mass attacks are lazy. These are the same people who say that AF is for any level and any style of artist. I think the toxicity that people experience on AF can lead them to not want to interact with the community. For a community of people that preach acceptance of everyone who wants to do art, then why are they calling certain attacks lazy?
So what did I actually take away from these interviews? First off, from tech's perspective, a lot of the toxicity seems tied to outside influence from TikTok, which brings in people that are more focusing on taking art instead of giving it. There's also an emphasis on clicks, competition, and point farming, which is overshadowing the whole point of the game. Now, from Wearing Pants' perspective, the toxicity shows up more in how larger or more established artists treat beginners, avoiding them, dismissing their work, or labeling certain efforts like mass attacks as lazy. This kind of behavior risks discouraging newcomers entirely. Alright, now you got the overall stuff out of the way. Now it's time to talk about what's happening this year. There's one thing I noticed on my TikTok. It was another issue that has now become recent, and trust me when I say this. This is stupid. Before anything, let me bring up some retrospect on it. Recently on TikTok, a few videos went viral about ArtFight and gender. Some people claim things like, drawing too many male characters is misogynistic. Drawing too many female characters is transphobic. ArtFight is too woke because so many OCs are LGBTQ+. Okay, so some were dead serious, and others were clearly joking and exaggerating. But either way, it blew up into drama. So, on one side, some agreed and said ArtFight should be more inclusive, however, others thought TikTok was just overreacting. Meanwhile, ArtFight themselves haven't responded on TikTok yet, but their actual rules were blatantly clear. They welcome all genders, they're LGBTQ+ friendly, and harassment isn't allowed. So in the end, this was mostly people arguing over personal opinions, not actual site policy. And the site itself is already built to include everyone. And if you didn't pay attention, don't worry. I'll sum it all up. Basically, the logic in this drama is TikTok decided that if you draw too many male characters, you're misogynistic. But if you draw too many female characters, you're transphobic. Oh, and if your OCs are LGBTQ+, you're too woke, but if not, you're bigoted.
You serious?
I'm sorry. What? Are you serious? Okay, first of all, I'm sorry, but do you hear yourself? Do you realize how stupid that sounds? How do you go from misogynistic to transphobic? misogyny and transphobia are not the same thing. You're comparing apples to oranges. And I hate to be nitpicky here, but you do realize that you should have said misandry, right? It's basically misogyny, but for men. Why are you throwing claims like that like you're TPing a house on Halloween? Is it really that hard to understand that misogyny and transphobia are different, even though they're both in the context of discrimination? Why are we even fighting over this? So there's this person, which, by the way, don't harass them. Okay? So she spoke into her previous video about this topic, but she privated it. I mean, it wouldn't really surprise me because someone, when they have a hot take and then they private it, I'd rather not say the reason, but you can find it yourself on like the TikTok.
I think a lot of you fundamentally misunderstood the point of my last video, and I apologize for making anything confusing or hard to understand, so I'm hoping to clarify things here. First and foremost, my point was not to criticize people for not drawing men, but rather to criticize the joke that people are making as a trend.
The only thing that's nothing wrong with it is when they say the "I can't draw men" thing, I just think you're not trying.
It is known that when people say I can't draw men, they are referring to cisgender masculine men.
Okay, never say cisgender, please. I find that genuinely weird for anyone or even me to even be labeled as that. and again, to say that someone who says I can't draw men at face value is trying to be transphobic just doesn't click with me. Now, if it was, I can't draw trans men, or the other way around, maybe I can get, but let me be clear to you all. Like, don't take this out of context. I'm fine with trans people. Okay, like, you know, I don't have to say that, but I feel like I have to because some people might just get the wrong idea. But my point is, why is this over not drawing men? It's really not that deep because they're not saying like they're forbidden from ever drawing it. It's like, I'm just so used to drawing women, vice versa.
However, this is automatically exclusionary of anyone else who identifies as a man. And when you only include cisgender hypermasculine men in your definition of man, you inevitably start to exclude anyone who doesn't fall under that category, and these are gender non-conforming, non-binary, or trans
Hold
people.
on, I thought we were talking about men. What do they have to do with anything? And listen, I'm not a professional, and I do not understand much of the LGBT community in terms of those who are trans, non-binary, so on and so forth, so you are free to educate me in the comments.
And by its very nature, being exclusionary of someone due to their gender identity or because they do not fit your gender standards is transphobic.
I vaguely get her point, but this is like irrelevant. I'm sorry. But we're talking about just men. But I do understand her point, like, by itself.
So by nature, this joke is not inclusionary, and therefore it falls under the category of a microaggression in transphobia.
Again, this is about men and misandry.
On to my next point, I never once said that not wanting to draw men makes you transphobic. Rather, it is the very confident claim that you cannot do something that automatically seems strange.
And to be fair, it's basically a cop-out. You're not really trying, which I hope she is trying to say.
So due to this, I would encourage you to consider why drawing feminine features comes more naturally than drawing masculine features.
Look, the reason why feminine features are more easier and familiar is because feminine features tend to be softer and rounder. So they're always associated with circles or circular. However, masculine features just tend to be more angular. The reason why it's so common to draw feminine features, or I don't know, maybe feminine characters, is because either video games, anime, just drawing in general, a lot of them tend to just draw girls. I just think that it's just not an excuse, and I genuinely believe that you would need to at least draw out of your comfort zone. Like, I draw men a lot. I have a hard time drawing women sometimes. It's even the other way around too. But at least I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone. And I believe that's what you guys just need to do at least. Like, try to be more comfortable with drawing other stuff than just the same thing.
And I would definitely consider what you perceive to be feminine versus what you perceive to be masculine. The way we define feminine and masculine features are defined in Eurocentrism and beauty standards, and these are...
I don't think race has anything to do with this. Oh, and speaking of race, I almost forgot to mention that in ArtFight. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with it. Who would have guessed?
Well, he went this way, and then he went that way, and then he went this way, and then I go this way, and then I go that way. Oh god, oh my god.
Oh my god. It's worse than I thought. The most common problem in an art fight is whitewashing. Some artists have fallen victim to this issue, which sucks, because even I have my own OCs who are dark skinned. Even though I may not have much, I'd love to make more in the future. The problem with whitewashing is that they not only try to make the skin pigment lighter, they also erase certain ethnic features or racial features that a character once had, like making curly hair straight, and so on. It's baffling to also remember that ArtFight themselves literally said to not blatantly disrespect depictions of specific cultures or any, and yet they still do it. At this point, I'm convinced that artists who whitewash just do this out of spite. Like, just don't draw them at all then. I'd rather someone didn't draw my OCs that have more melanin if they're just gonna whitewash them. Yet, this still happens every year. No. This happens almost every often, if not more. At the end of the day, burnout, entitlement, cheating, toxicity, and yes, even whitewashing, all comes down to one thing: how we treat each other in this game. But when people start point farming, getting clout, or possibly ignoring respect for other people's characters and cultures, it just ruins the whole purpose of this game. Because the truth is, ArtFight will never be perfect, because no community is. What we can do, or what you can do, is make the purpose and experience better for people around you. Draw with intention, respect boundaries, don't guilt people, and for sake, stop whitewashing. If you're going into ArtFight for the first time, or even if you've been doing it for years, just remember, you don't owe anyone perfection. You don't owe anyone revenges. You certainly don't owe anyone art that doesn't feel right to make. What you do owe is kindness to yourself, to others, and to the people you decide to draw. So whether you do 1 attack, 10 attacks, or 100, make it fun at least. Make it feel more honest and keep the spirit of ArtFight alive. This has been my deep dive into the ArtFight aftermath, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, you may feel free to comment on my post about anything I should cover.